Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 5 and today we will present about Cooperative Learning, CTL and CLT. And let me introduce myself. I'm Indah Novitasari and my partners are Desi Firanujana and Ivan Fadila. So let's check this out.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Desi Firanujana. Now I will explain about cooperative learning. Cooperative learning exists when students work together to achieve joint learning goals. Any assignment in any curriculum for any age student can be done cooperatively. There are three ways that cooperative learning may be used. Formal cooperative learning group may last for one class period to several weeks to complete any course requirement, such as solving problems, reading complex material, writing an essay or report, conducting a survey or experiment, learning vocabulary, or answering questions at the end of each chapter. The teacher introduces the lesson, assign students to group 2 to 5 members, give students the material they need to complete the assignment, and assign the student roles. The teacher explains the task, teach any concept or procedures the student need in order to complete the assignment, and structure the cooperation among students. Students work on the assignment until all group members have successfully understood and completed it. When the students work together, the teacher moves from group to group, systematically monitoring their interaction. The teacher intervenes when students do not understand the academic task or when there are problems in working together. After the assignment is complete, the teacher evaluates the academic success of each student and has the group process how well they function as a team. In working cooperatively, students realize they are mutually responsible for each other learning and have a stake in each other's success. Informal cooperative learning groups are temporary groups that last from a few minutes to one class period. They are used during a lecture, demonstration, or film. And then is characteristic of cooperative learning groups. Cooperative learning is a method of promoting learning through student cooperation rather than competition. It is a method of effectively using student groups in classroom. It is only under certain conditions that cooperative effort may be expected to be more productive than competitive and individualistic efforts. These conditions are positive interdependence, individual accountability, face-to-face promotive interaction, appropriate collaborative skills, group processing, and heterogeneous groups. Positive interdependence exists when students perceive that they are linked with group mates in such a way that they cannot succeed unless their group mates do, and or that they must coordinate their effort with the effort of their group mates to complete a task. Positive interdependence promotes a situation in which students first see that their work benefits group mates and their group mates' work benefit them, and work together in a small group to maximize the learning of members by sharing their resources to provide mutual support and acknowledgement and to celebrate their joint success. When positive interdependence is clearly understood, it establishes that each group member effort are required and indispensable for group success. Then each group member has a unique contribution to make to the joint effort because of his or her resource and or role and task responsibilities. And then individual accountability. Individual accountability, which exists when the performance of individual student is assessed, the results are given back to the individual and the group, and the student is held responsible by group mates for contributing his or her fair share to the group success. It is important that the group knows who needs more assistance, support, and encouragement in completing the assignment. It is also important that group members know they cannot hitchhike on the work of others. When it is difficult to identify members' contribution, when member contributions are redundant, and when members are not responsible for the final group outcome, they may be seeking a free ride, and that is called social loving. Their ways to structure individual accountability include keeping the size of the group small. The smaller the size of the group, the greater the individual accountability may be. Then, giving an individual task to each student. Third, randomly examining students orally by calling one student to present his or her group's work to the teacher in the presence of the group or to the entire class. Next, observing each group and recording the frequency with which each member contributes to the group work. Then, assigning one student in each group the role of checker. The checker asks other group member to explain the reasoning and rationale underlying group answer. And then is having students teach what they learn to someone else. When all students do this, it is called simultaneous explaining. And then is face-to-face promotive interaction. Promotive interaction may be defined as individual encouraging and facilitating each other effort to achieve complete tasks and produce in order to reach the group goals. Although positive interdependence in and of itself may have some effect on outcome, it is the face-to-face promotive interaction among individuals fostered by the positive interrelationship and by psychological adjustment and social competence. Promotive interaction is characterized by individuals providing each other with efficient and effective help and assistance in exchanging need resources such as information and materials and processing information more effectively, and providing each other with feedback in order to improve their subsequent performance. Challenging each other's conclusion and reasoning in order to promote higher quality decision making and greater insight into the problem being considered, advocating the exertion of effort to achieve mutual goals, influencing each other effort to achieve the group goals, acting in trusting and trustworthy ways. being motivated to strive for mutual benefit, and maintaining a moderate level of arousal characterized by low anxiety and stress. And then is interpersonal and small group skills. In order to coordinate efforts to achieve mutual goals, students must 1. Get to know and trust each other. 2. Communicate accurately and unambiguously. 3. Accept and support each other. 4. Resolve conflict constructively. And placing socially unskilled students in a group and telling them to cooperate does not guarantee that they have the ability to do effectively. We are not born instinctively knowing how to interact effectively with others. Interpersonal and small group skills do not magically appear when they are needed. Students must be taught the social skills required for high quality collaboration and be motivated to use them if cooperative groups are to be productive. The whole field of group dynamics is based on the premise that social skills are the key to group productive. The more socially skillful students are, and the more attention teachers pay to teaching and rewarding the use of social skills, the higher the achievement that can be expected with cooperative learning groups. In their study on the long-term implementation of cooperative learning, Live and Match investigate the impact of a reward contingency for using social skill as well as positive interdependence and a contingency for academic achievement on performance within cooperative learning groups. In the cooperative skill conditions, students were trained weekly in 4 social skills, and each member of a cooperative group was given 2 bonus points toward the quiz grade if all group social skill, and each member of cooperative group was given 2 bonus points toward the quiz grade if all group members were observed by the teacher to demonstrate 3 out of 4 cooperative skills. The results indicate that the combination of positive interdependence and academic contingency for high performance by all group members and social skill contingency promote the highest achievement. And the 5 is group processing. Effective group work is influenced by whether or not groups reflect on how well they are functioning. A process is an identifiable sequence of events taking place over time. An process goal refers to the sequence of events instrumental in achieving outcome goals. Group processing may be defined as reflecting on a group session to 1. Describe what member actions were helpful and unhelpful. 2. Make decisions about what action to continue or change. The purpose of group processing is to clarify and improve the effectiveness of the members in contributing to the collaborative effort to achieve the group goals. While the teacher systematically observes the cooperative learning group, he or she attains a window into what students do and do not understand as they explain to each other how to complete the excitement. Listening on the student explanation provides valuable information about how the student understand the interaction, the major concepts and strategies being learned, and the basic element of cooperative learning. There are two levels of processing small group and whole class. In order to ensure that small group processing takes place, teacher allocate some time at the end of each class session for each cooperative group to process how effectively members work together. Groups need to describe what member actions were helpful and not helpful in completing the group's work and make indication about what behavior to continue or change such processing. Number 1. Enable learning group to focus on maintaining good working relationship among members to facilitate the learning of cooperative skill. Number 3. Ensure that members receive feedback on their participation. Number 4. Ensure that students think on the metacognitive as well as the cognitive level. 5. Provides the means to celebrate the success of the group and reinforce the positive behavior of group members. Some of the key to successful small group processing are allowing sufficient time for it to take place, providing a structured processing, emphasizing positive feedback, making the processing specific rather than general, maintaining student involvement in processing, reminding students to use their cooperative skill while they process, and communicating clear expectations as to the purpose of processing. An important aspect of both small group and whole class processing is group and class collaboration. It is feeling successful, appropriate, and respect that build commitment to learning, enthusiasm about working in cooperative group, and a sense of self-efficacy in terms of subject matter mastery and working cooperatively with classmates. And the last is group heterogeneity. The size of cooperative learning group is relatively small and as heterogeneous as circumstances allow. The recommended size is usually 4 to 5 students. At the very least, group should contain both males and females and students of different ability levels. If possible, different ethnic backgrounds and social class should be represented as well.
Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Indah Nurfitasari and I will explain about CTL. And the definition of CTL is Contextual Teaching and Learning Approach, or CTL is a learning concept that helps teachers link the material being taught to students' real-world situation and encourage students to make connections between their knowledge and its application in their lives as family and community members. According to Crawford 2001, in line with the implementation of CTL, there are some strategies that teachers use in the classroom. Number 1 is relating. Number 2 is experiencing. Number 3 is applying. Number 4 is cooperating. And number 5 is transferring. First, I will explain about relating. Relating is the most powerful element in contextual teaching strategy. It also suggests that students learning in the context of one's lived experiences or pre-existing knowledge. In relating, teachers link a new concept to something completely unknown to students. Cain and Cain called this reaction felt meaning. That reaction can be momentous as when a student finds the solution to a problem that he or she has spent significant time and effort in solving. Then the second is experiencing. In contextual approach, one strategy relates to another. The previous statement appears to indicate that relating connects new information to lived experiences or prior knowledge that students bring to the classroom. Teachers are able to overcome this obstacle and help students construct new knowledge with hands-on experiences that occur inside the classroom. This strategy is called experiencing. In experiencing, students are learning by doing through exploration, discovery, and invention. And then the third is applying. Applying strategy can be defined as learning by putting the concept to use. Clearly, students can implement the concept when they are engaged in hands-on problem-solving activities. Teachers can also motivate a need for understanding the concept by assigning realistic and relevant experiences. Relating and experiencing are strategies for developing insight, felt meaning, and understanding. Applying is a contextual teaching and learning strategy that develops a deeper sense of meaning. And then the fourth is cooperating. Students are not able to make significant progress in a class when they work individually. On the other hand, students working in small groups can handle that complex problem with little outside help. Teachers using students-led groups to complete exercises or hands-on activities are using the strategy of cooperating. This strategy refers to learning in the context of sharing, responding, and communicating with other learners. And then the last is transferring. In a contextual or constructivist classroom, the teacher's role is expanded to include creating a variety of learning experiences with a focus on understanding rather than memorization. Transferring is a teaching strategy that we define as using knowledge in a new context or novel situation, one that has not been covered in a class. It suggests that students who learn with understanding can also learn to transfer knowledge.
Okay guys, so the next material is CLT or Communicative Language Teaching. But before we're going to the CLT, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ivan Fadila. So the first is the definition of CLT. Communicative language teaching or CLT is an approach to the teaching of second and foreign languages that emphasizes interaction as both the means and the ultimate goal of learning a language. It is also referred to as communicative approach to teaching of foreign languages, or simply the communicative approach. So, the next is the role of the teacher and the students. The teacher facilitates communication in the classroom. In this role, one of their major responsibilities is to establish situations likely to promote communication. During the activities, the teacher acts as an advisor, answering students' questions and monitoring their performance. The teacher might make note of their errors to be worked on at a later time during more accuracy-based activities. At the other times, the teacher might be a CO communicator engaging in the communicative activity along with students. Students are communicators. They are actively engaged in negotiating, meaning in trying to make themselves understood and in understanding others even when their knowledge of the target language is incomplete. So, the next is the characteristic. The most obvious characteristic of CLT or communicative language teaching is that almost everything that is done with a communicative intent. Students use the language a great deal through communicative activities, such as games, role plays, and problem-solving tasks. Another characteristic of CLT is the use of authentic materials. It is considered desirable to give students an opportunity to develop strategies for understanding languages it is actually used. So the last is the techniques and the materials of CLT. The first is the authentic materials. In this lesson, the teacher uses a real newspaper article. The teacher also assigns the students homework, requiring that they listen to a live radio or television broadcast. And the second is scrambled sentences. In here, the students are given a passage or a text in which the sentences are in a scrambled order. This may be a passage they have worked with or one they have not seen before. And then the third is language games. Games are used frequently in CLT. The students find them enjoyable, and if they are properly designed, they give students valuable communicative practice. The fourth is picture strip story. In here, one student in one small group was given a strip story. The teacher showed the first picture of the story to the other members of the group and asked them to predict what the second picture would look like. So the last is role play. In here, the teacher tells the students who they are and what they should say. Or in a less structured way, for example, the teacher tells the students who they are and what the situation is and what they are talking about, but the students determine what they will say. Okay, so here is our references or our source. Okay, so we have just explained about our material. There are Cooperative Learning, CTL, and CLT. So if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask. Okay? Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.